Hello, hello, beautiful people. It is me, Tasha K with Gotta Stay, and I am beyond excited to be with you guys today to share a message about budgeting for your brain and really stepping into your own power and your own identity and creating a budget that works for you. I feel like I say I'm excited every time, but I am especially excited today because I feel like we're at the genesis of a new conversation around budgeting. A lot of times you hear people talk about what worked for them. So coaches will say things like, I'm going to show you the exact system that I use to 10x my net worth. And it's like, okay, that's great that it worked for you, but I'm not you. Like I don't have the same interests as you, the same personality as you, the same financial situation as you. And so what does that have to do with me being able to create the financial future that I want for myself? So, within our conversation today, we're really going to bring budgeting down to a personal level so that you can create a financial system that works for you. All right, y'all ready? Let's get into this presentation. All right, here we go. So, welcome to the Budget Style Masterclass, where we're going to talk about 5 strategies to create a budget that honors your authentic self and amplifies your wealth. We're going to be starting off with the introduction, really framing the entire conversation so that it actually makes sense to you. And then we're going to go into the 4 different budget styles. Hopefully, you completed the quiz already and you know your budget style. Then we're going to get into 5 budget strategies that will help you do exactly what we said, right? Honor your authentic self and amplify your wealth. And then we're going to look at why does this work and how does it work? All right. So, for as long as you remember, you probably never had a budget that actually works. You probably have sat down at some point to create a budget, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't click. It's not easy to execute. You forget about it after a while. And in your mind, there's a way that you're supposed to budget. So you probably like sit in front of your computer or you sit down with your notebook and you get real serious and you start creating what you think this ideal budget is supposed to be. And you feel good about it. You feel excited about it. It's so wonderful. But deep down inside, something feels off about it. You know that something isn't quite right. And the crazy part is that the concept of budgeting has literally existed forever, right? Even back in the caveman days, people needed to know how to budget their energy for survival. So, why is it that we struggle with budgeting so much today when we've literally had eons and eons to figure this thing out? And I would say that today is because we're trying to create this pretty imperfect budget, but there's something missing from that equation. So, what do you guys think is missing from the budget equation so far in terms of how we've been doing it in the past? What would you say is missing? We usually get a couple different answers here. And interested, oh, that's a good one. Ariana said real life happenings. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, I see y'all. I like that. But what I'm saying is, who they looking at? They looking at you. You are what's missing from the conversation. Yes, the real deal things that are happening in your life that are specific to you, that deal with who you are and how you are, that has been missing from the conversation. And to that, I say, where you at? Where you been at? Why haven't you been showing up inside of your finances and inside of your budget in a real way? You've been meditating, okay, doing it with a partner. Yes, I see you, Marcus. You've been meditating, drinking your water, exercising, going to therapy, and really figuring out how to love yourself and understand what it means to be you, who you really are. And I'm going to need you to keep that same energy when it comes to your budget, because when you do, this is what happens, right? This is like just a little snippet from one of my clients' spreadsheets. from the budget template that we use. And you can see that during her first month with us, her net worth was $2,588. 6 months later, fast forward, her net worth was $11,427. That's what happens when you start to put yourself at the center of the budget conversation. And my favorite part is that I like that the numbers look nice, but it's more than just numbers on a page. This is what somebody sent me. I just want to say, because of you and your words, you have helped me find freedom in budgeting. That's probably one of the best compliments that anybody could ever give to me. They said, my budget is my friend. And the reason I love that so much, because if your budget is your enemy, you're going to continue to fight with it. You're going to continue to fight against it. It's not going to work for you. But when your budget is your friend, you're gonna rock with it. You're gonna go along with it. You're gonna work with it. Y'all gonna figure out how to do that thing together, hand in hand. You're gonna just, work with your budget as a partner instead of something that you feel like you need to rebel against. This person said, I had resigned to the idea that money management wasn't my thing, budgeting wasn't my thing, and I could not see myself being responsible with money. You helped me change my relationship with it and find joy in working with it. Thank you. Marcus said, I like that. Yes, because how often do you hear people talk about joy when it comes to budgeting? Like when I get messages like this, it lights me up because people don't want to look at budgeting. They don't want to think about budgeting. They feel like it's a very restrictive exercise. But when you look at your budget style and you start to get an understanding for how you operate when it comes to money management, then you can budget with more freedom. You can budget with more freedom. And it's so funny because I was talking to my sister the other day, and I was talking to her about the different budget styles, and normally when I talk to her about budgeting, she's like, la, 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 la. She don't want to hear nothing I got to say. But when I was talking to her about the budget styles and we identified hers, which she's an indulgent budgeter, and I'm a fierce budgeter. My other sister is an ambitious budgeter. We're all different budget styles. But when I was talking to her about it, she kind of lit up and she was like, oh my gosh, I like that. Her whole face lit up. And I could see that she was starting to connect some dots and feel some hope that maybe budgeting could work for her because she hadn't felt like that before. So to be able to see my own sister, who I've been talking to about budgeting for I can't even tell you how long, like that's really what this conversation makes available. You start to feel like maybe I can do this. So I'm going to need you to stop pretending. Let down your pretenses for a second. Whatever you've been doing, we about to do something different. We're going to really get into who we are. So, you're not about to stop eating out every day. Okay. If you were spending $700 a month eating out before, which is average before people come to me and I look at what they're doing, $700 a month, you're probably not about to go to $200 a month overnight. Like, let's be real. You could try to write a pretty budget that looks like that. You could do that, but it's probably not about to happen like that in real life. Like, if we're being honest, you're probably not going to stop getting your Starbucks every day. Okay. You've been doing that every day for I don't know how many years, and it's ingrained in your habits. And you need to, wean yourself off of it and start thinking about, okay, what are some other things that I can do before you try to write it out completely, because that doesn't work. And you probably not about to forego those Beyonce concert tickets, even though you didn't put it in your budget, that pretty budget that you finished and set aside, and you probably don't look at it for another 3 weeks or 3 months. Now, these are just some examples. You have to think about what it is for you. Okay, because I'm absolutely about to forego them Beyonce tickets. No, not me. But what is it for you? I be pretending like I'm about to work out every day, and I create my little whole workout regimen. It's like, girl, stop it. You're not gonna do this. So I want you to really take a second and think about, what is it that you are pretending? That if you were to just let that go, it would really open up something new for you. So for those of you who don't know me, for those of you who are new with me today, I am Tasha, and I'm about to open you up to a whole new world of budgeting. And I'm going to do more than just say, hey, look, this is what worked for me. No, I'm going to show you how to leverage the power of embracing exactly who you are so that you can finally create a budget that's workable for you, your personality, and your lifestyle. And like Ariana said, like we really have to account for real life happenings. People think that the budget is about the numbers, but that's not true. Your budget is about your life. It's about the things that are going on or not going on in your life. It's not about just numbers on a page. All right, so let's talk about why this is important and why you're here. I'm really going to thoroughly frame this conversation because it's important to me that everything makes sense as we go down the line. And I want you to know that whether you are with me right now or whether you are watching the replay, really plug in and think about why is it important that you're here? Because just because you're not live with us, that don't mean that you can't vibe with us. Don't let yourself off the hook for being really engaged and invested in this moment just because you're not here. And if you are here, you know, do yourself the pleasure of really engaging with us today. All right, so 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. How many of you knew that? Raise your hand if you knew that 78% of people were living paycheck to paycheck in America. Okay? If you didn't know that, let us know that too. Like, it's a surprise to you because that number should piss you off. That means that 80% of people who go to work almost, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, putting in their blood, sweat, and tears, and they hardly have any assets to show for it. Maybe a car and maybe a place to put their head and some clothes, but that's about it. Or like I said, I didn't know that. Okay, so most of you guys didn't know that. Over 50% of six-figure earners are living paycheck to paycheck. And the cost of everything has practically doubled. Could you imagine making six figures and still living paycheck to paycheck? When we did this class on Tuesday, one of the people was like, that's me. And they said that capitalism and consumerism had them in a chokehold. And that's true for so many of my clients. They're making six figures, they're making money, but they're not building wealth because those are two very different things. And then the cost of everything is doubled. I went to the store the other day to get my grass-fed organic beef, where it was normally $4 to $5. Yesterday was over $10. Okay, so the cost of everything goes up. And what happens is that when the price of things goes up, it eats into your wealth potential. Your ability to build wealth is hindered because things are more expensive. You have to spend more money. And a lot of people don't think about it that way. So what that means is that you don't have the luxury of not being intentional about your finances. So that's what I say about why you're here. But what do you say about why you're here? Is it because the old way wasn't working and you're excited to try something new? Like that old budget wasn't getting the job done and you want to see what a new budget could do? Is it because you're tired of living beneath your financial potential? And I ain't gonna lie, this is the one for me. Like, this is the one that pisses me off. I'm tired of watching people live beneath their financial potential because they're caught up in consumerism when they really could be living a much, much better life if they would just focus on their finances and not get caught up in the rat race and feel busy, busy, busy where you don't have time to focus on it. And then number 3, you have a glimmer of hope that maybe there's something that works, right? Not a lot of hope because you've done some stuff before. You tried some stuff in the past and it hasn't really worked, but you got a little bit of hope that maybe you can find something that works for you. So just look at those 3 things and really think, and you can put it in the chat. What made you show up? What is it that you are hoping to be able to get from this? Now, you know how you go into a store sometimes and the sales associate, they come up to you and they're like, can I help you find anything? And all of a sudden you start to feel a little anxious. You're like, why are you all up on me? Like, give me some space. And you know, they want you to buy something and they keeping their eye on you. I want you to know that this is not that. Of course, at the end of our conversation today, I'm going to share all about our six-figure budget experience where we help working professionals, entrepreneurs, first generation wealth builders take control of their finances and create a budget that allows them to have more money than they've ever had before. And we do that over the course of 3 months. And I'm going to tell you all about it. But right now, while you're in this conversation, I want you to be really, really comfortable feeling like this is not about getting an outcome. This is just about you getting this information now. And if this information resonates with you, like Beyonce said, none of that may be energy. It'll be a hell yes. I want to create a budget system like that. And then I'll make it available for you to be able to do that at the end. And if not, that's okay too. Get everything you can from this presentation right now. And when you stay with me until the end, I have a special gift for you. Yes, I'm not above bribing you to stay until the end. And that's going to be our financial automation blueprint, 7 days to freedom. It's super, super incredible. I absolutely love it. If you are a systems thinker like me, you're going to love that. All right. So if at the end of the day, you're interested in learning more about the six-figure bootcamp experience, you're going to hang out with us until like that dark orange mark at the bottom. If you're not, you'll probably leave us around that light green mark over there. And both of those things are perfectly okay. Marcus said that he's here because he wants to look at consistency and sticking to a budget. And Sophia agreed. And I don't think you could be in a much better place because consistency is going to come from how the world occurs to you, right? If the world occurs to you like this is hard or this is not enjoyable or I don't like it, it's going to be challenging to get to a space of consistency. But when you like to do something, it's a lot easier. All right, so let's start getting into the meat of this conversation, talking about the 4 budget styles. All right. Now, how many of you know your zodiac sign? I know everybody knows their zodiac sign. What's your zodiac sign? And if you don't want to get specific, you can just say air, earth, fire, water, whatever. Scorpio, Aries. I got some Virgos in the building. Hi, fellow Virgos. Yeah, so okay, Aries. All right, I see y'all. Y'all really showed up today. So we have the zodiac sign, your Myers-Briggs, your love language. How many of you know your love language? My love languages are quality time and acts of service. Now, your zodiac sign helps you understand a little bit more about how you are and how you interact with the world around you, right? Your love language helps you better navigate relationships and communicate within them, right? Are these measures perfect? No. You might hear something about your zodiac sign that just doesn't resonate with you. They say that, Virgos are like really meticulous about being tidy. Baby, no, ma'am. I am not. I have my moments where I have to tidy everything up, but a lot of the time there's like chaos. All right. Do these things define you? Absolutely not. Before you ever knew your love language, it was still your love language. Before I knew that quality time was my love language, I would still feel like, my boyfriend is buying me gifts. He is doing things for me, but I still don't feel loved. What's going on? And that was always there. But when the distinction of a love language came, it allowed you to clarify and solidify and get distinct something that was already there. So it's just there to support you. All right. Now, if you haven't already, I just want to remind you, make sure that you take the quiz so that you can actually know what is your budget style. And just like your zodiac sign or your Myers-Briggs or your love language, it's just there to give you information to help you identify the ways in which you operate so that you can really own them with clarity and solidification. And this is going to be at goddessday.com/quiz. All right. So there are 4 different budget styles and we're about to get into them. The first is ambitious. We have fierce, meticulous, and indulgent. Those are our 4 different budget styles. Now, the ambitious budgeter, sometimes you have champagne dreams on a beer budget. But don't feel bad about them, nobody, because they don't let that stop them. The ambitious budgeter know that the Beyonce tickets are going to go on sale. And even though their bank account is on E, they already thinking about, all right, what's the hustle? What I got to do to get them tickets? And they will figure it out. They will make a way out of no way. All right. When it comes to the ambitious budgeter, their strength is figuring out how to get what they want. Their weakness is they're almost too good at surviving, but not thriving financially. They're so good at surviving, they're just not even worried about it because they know that when the time comes, they're going to be able to do whatever they need to do. And so it stops them from having the urgency to think about the future. Now, why is it a weakness? Ariana, like, oh, that's a weakness. The reason that being too good at surviving is a weakness because the skills that you need to survive are very different and will actually hinder your ability to thrive. What they need to work on, the ambitious budgeter needs to work on consistent financial growth over time, right? A lot of times they might have a little money, then they spend it. And then they got a little money and they spend it. They're the epitome of, I spend a check and get it right back. But when you keep doing that, it equals zero. So that's not what we're trying to be on. The fierce budgeter, I feel sorry for whatever obstacles try to stand in the way of a fierce budgeter. And that's me. Fierce budgeters are determined to build wealth by any means necessary. They don't care what they got to sacrifice. They're not worried about it. They're not whining about it. They're not complaining. They have a goal and they are focused and they're going to do whatever it takes to make that goal come to fruition. Okay. And the indulgent budgeter or, other budget categories and styles, they might do the same thing, but they might complain. The indulgent budgeter for sure. They're going to be like, oh, why do I have to do this? Not the fierce budgeter. They excited about it. They were made for this and they're going to conquer it too. The fierce budgeter, their strength is planning for the future. They can plan the mess out of everything. Their weakness, a scarcity mindset. They're working harder instead of working smarter. And they need to work on balance and recognizing wins. Marcus said, this is so good. I'm realizing a lot of things I need to do differently. We haven't even gotten to the strategies yet. So I love it. The meticulous budgeter. You are the definition of taking care of business. Everything gets done on your watch. Black girl magic incarnate. You check all the boxes, okay? You know how to get things done. Your strength is implementation, but not just implementation. You know how to learn something, synthesize something, and then act on it. Your weakness is blind spots. The meticulous budgeter is such a know-it-all. They get on a lot of people's nerves sometimes. If you got somebody in your life who you know they are know-it-all, they're probably a meticulous budgeter. Their weakness is that they have blind spots and they're very, very in tune with their comfort zone. They don't want to leave their comfort zone. This is a person who loves tradition. So they need to work on receiving help, but also getting out of that comfort zone, because what you know or what you think you know is not always the path to your prosperity. And the meticulous budgeter can often get caught up in thinking they know what to do, but then they end up missing the mark. And then finally, we have the indulgent budgeter. And I love indulgent budgeters. It's kind of like a double-edged sword because let me just get into it. Opulence calls your name. You work hard for your money and you love to enjoy it. Your mantra is you only live once, and it shows. I love indulgent budgeters because they have an innate sense of worthiness and they really understand abundance in a way that a lot of the other budget styles may not get it. So their strength is cherishing themselves and sometimes even cherishing others. They might be really good at gift giving and stuff like that. Their weakness, they don't like to sacrifice. They sacrificed enough to be where they are today and they sick of it. What you'll want to work on as an indulgent budgeter is discipline and willpower. Okay. So there are three aspects of your budget style. Okay. When we're thinking about when you take your quiz, how does it determine which budget style you fall into? Well, there are three different things that we focus on, three aspects to determine your style. The first one is purpose. Do you know what you want your money to do? The second one is intentionality. How much do you pay attention to your money? And then the third thing is the money itself. How much money do you make and how much money do you have? As a baseline, every single person who takes this quiz and who is present on this masterclass, they're going to have a baseline of conscientiousness, right? Thoughtfulness, thinking about money. That's why you're here in the first place. So your budget style can change, right? There's absolutely going to be things that are core to who you are. So, for example, I'm a fierce budgeter to the core. However, there are also aspirational aspects to it. Like, I might want to have more characteristics of an indulgent budgeter. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Last year, when I was buying my car, I was thinking that maybe I want to buy a Lexus truck. And then I was like, nah, I don't need a Lexus truck. I'll just get a Kia Soul. Now, the Kia Soul is like the epitome of economical, right? Like that's literally what you would expect from a fierce budgeter. But now I feel a shift in my spirit. Like maybe it's time for me to upgrade to that Lexus truck. Okay, so even though at my core, I'm still thinking about, saving and, really being focused with my money. I do want to be able to treat myself without feeling guilty. I do want to be able to indulge sometimes. So even though you have a core, you can also display aspects of the other ones as well. Okay. So as Beyonce says, you're so the other day, nobody guessed what I was gonna say. Anybody know like what you think I'm gonna say? What Beyonce say? You're so unique. Y'all know y'all been listening to Renaissance. You're so unique. All right. And so you need a budget that's going to be unique as well. Now, here's some budget style facts before we get into strategy. These are not concrete. They can change as you evolve. You do have a core style, but others may resonate, like I said. And the style isn't the important part. Owning who you are is the important part. All right. So this is not to try to define you and say who you are. This is just to allow you to be seen and acknowledged and to know that like, I know that there are different budgeting styles out there. I know that you might not feel like you fit into the traditional budget box, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with where you are. We just need to figure out how do we make budgeting accessible for you and make sure that it can actually produce you the results that you want. All right. Budgeting styles help you gain a better understanding of your relationship with money so that you can step into your full financial power on your terms without fear, without guilt, and without shame. Now, here's a message from one of my favoriteest clients that says, "Hi, Tasha. I hope everything is well. I wanted to extend that my gratitude for you is so deep. I got my bank statement from Ally, and it was so nice to see a comma in my savings account and growing. Last year, I couldn't have imagined this feeling. Thank you." Now, this person was one of my ambitious budgeters, didn't have a lot of income, worked in a Target store. And she's talking about how now her bank account has a comma in it. Now she has over $10,000 in net worth and growing. And last year she couldn't have even imagined, but look what she said, this feeling. She didn't even say, I couldn't imagine having this much money. Right? It's the feeling of peace. It's the feeling of joy. It's the feeling of clarity. It's the security that you get to have from money. The things that you get to do when you want to do them now. Now, I also love this one too. This was actually from one of my meticulous budgeters. She said, it's because of the Goddess Day financial coaching program that I didn't panic when I was laid off. It's because of Tasha and Tamay, her coach, that I was able to take a full 3-month hiatus from working. I am eternally grateful. Can't even fathom how the year would have been without them. Okay. So I really love this one because as a meticulous budgeter, this girl was unable to rest. So not only did she make enough money or increase her net worth enough to not have to worry about money again, but she also learned how to rest and take a hiatus from working. Can you imagine just being able to take 3 months off of work and not worrying about money at all, just enjoying your life? Contrary to what people may want you to believe, you were not created to have to go to work every day. One of my friends is in Mexico right now, not working, and she's just living her life every day. When you have resources, it really opens up the door for you to be able to enjoy your life in the way that it was meant to be enjoyed. Thank you for the heart, Ariana. All right, so now we're about to get into the 5 budget strategies. Let's do this. All right, number 1, identify your unique budget style. Number 2, tap into your magnetic money memory. Number 3, embrace neurodiversity. Number 4, know thyself. And number 5, budget by your own design, not by what everybody else is telling you to do, but by your unique design. All right. So when we think about identifying your budget style, this is all about going to take that quiz and identifying what your budget style is. And then you want to ask yourself what feels core, right? And then what feels aspirational? What resonates with you? And then play with it. When you take the quiz, it's going to tell you what resonates with where you are now. But you have a whole body of life that you've experienced. There are probably times in your life where ambitious budgeters usually grow up to be indulgent budgeters. Fierce budgeters sometimes get more focused and become meticulous budgeters. There's evolution that happens here, but don't try to make this hard and fast. Just see what resonates with you and where you want to go. And the whole idea is that you start to identify strategies that can work for where you are. All right. Number 2, tap into your magnetic money memory. I love this one because guess what? We're talking about budget styles, but you didn't get to be this way overnight. You want to start to ask yourself, how did you become the person that you are today? And your magnetic money memory is the earliest and most emotional memory that you have around money. For me, that moment was I was a little girl, probably about 9 years old, and I was headed into my neighborhood shopping district with my mom, and it was the most beautiful day. It was dead in the middle of summer, so we're in Chicago and the sun is shining. My mom had did my hair, so like I got my hair done, it's all parted up and greased, and so the sun is beaming on my scalp. Barrett's clacking. I can literally remember it like it was yesterday. And we're about to go into the store, and my mom gets down on my level and she said, don't touch nothing, don't look at nothing, don't ask for nothing because you can't get nothing. And in my heart, it dropped into my stomach. And I can even feel it right now. It's so crazy. I can feel the tightness in my chest, right? And Marcus says, sounds familiar because we joke about like, yes, that's something that Black moms say, but I literally remember the moment that my mom said it to me and what I made it mean. And I made it mean that I can have what I need, but I can't have what I want. I'm worthy enough to have my basic necessities met, but I'm not worthy enough to ask for what I want. I had never even said I wanted anything, but she just felt it necessary to, and not knowing what she was doing, not intentionally crushing my spirit and hopes and dreams. But the things that we go through, the financial traumas that we experience, whether we realize it or not, they come to have a huge impact on us. So I'm not just a fierce budgeter just because. I'm a fierce budgeter because I never want to fall back into poverty. I'm a fierce budgeter because I want to make sure that I save and save and save and eventually get to my goals because I never want to be back in the place where I was before. And an indulgent budgeter may have experienced poverty and now they spend like crazy because they weren't able to do it before. Everybody's experiences is going to impact them differently, but you want to look to see what is the impact for what has happened to you. How did you become the person that you are? Number 3, embrace neurodiversity. Everybody's brain doesn't work the same. And you might think that that doesn't matter, but your brain is going to win every time, or at least most of the time. You're not going to be able to fight against the biological evolution of instant gratification every single time. So, what works for other people, it might not work for you. Right? What other people are doing, that might not be what you need to do. Some people might have a very detailed budget and they might be able to get deep down into all the details all the time. You might want to keep it more high level and just look at what's happening at a high level, bird's eye view, right? So how you approach money and how you approach your life is going to be different based on how your brain works. It seems like, I know people who cook every day. I just can't do that. I don't enjoy it. And so instead, what works for me is to cook, once a week and then plan my meals around that and plan my snacks around that. So you want to start to get comfortable identifying, how do I operate? How do I tick? How do I work? Most people go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I start my work at 11 a.m. Right? Because if I try to get up at 8 a.m., I'm going to be groggy. I'm not going to be effective. I'm not going to be productive. And if I'm trying to if I'm using my waking hours in that state, that's costing me money. So don't try to do what everybody else is doing. Don't try to be how everybody else is being. There are so many, I can't even begin to think of all the ways that you are unique. Like embracing neurodiversity means so much to me. Everybody operates in a different way. And you want to start to identify, where do you feel friction? Where is the system not working? And then start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do for who I am to make this work? All right. Build your budget blueprint. So you understand your budget style. You know your magnetic money memory. You've been paying attention to how you operate. And now you need to put all of that together into your success operating manual. I have a manual for how I run my business and the ways that work for me. All right. This is this is our company frameworks manual. This is how thick it is, because I need a manual for what works for me. I need to make sure that there are systems and processes in place so that my business can continue to run regardless of what I'm doing. You want to be able to put your finances on autopilot. And in order to do that, you have to have a blueprint to you. A lot of people talk about creating boundaries. And boundaries are cool, but I think blueprints are the next step, because you don't have to try to, limit yourself or protect yourself. You want to just be clear about, this is how I'm operating and this is what it takes to be able to engage with me. Part of how I operate, like I tell people, listen, if you're one of my new friends, you're going to know I don't wake up early and I don't do cold. And this gives people an idea of how to engage with me. And then finally, budget by design. This is personal. Your budget is personal. What would it look like for you to create a budget that truly honors who you are? Okay, so you can't try to take things out that's not going to work for you. And you might have to put certain things in that will work for you, but you're going to have to be intentional about what those things are. You can't be indulgent about everything, but what are the things that Ariana needs to be indulgent about? What is it that Leilani wants to focus on? What are the things that really matter to you? What are your values? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? And here's a spoiler alert for you. This is absolutely going to require some transformation. And that might seem confusing at first because I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, you get to embrace who you are and bring that into your budget equation. But then, what about the transformation? Now, let me tell you what I mean before you think before you think that I'm trying to put you back into that box again. Being able to own your budget style is about surrendering to how you operate, right? Not pretending that that's not how you operate. Just acknowledge it, okay? All right, I'm not going to work out every day. That's just the reality of it. I know I thought I was, but when I look at my track record, I haven't been doing that. Second part, embrace it. Okay, I know I'm not going to work out every day. And then choosing, okay, so what can I do? What can I do to get the results that I want? Now, let me tell you why we got to go through this process and why we can't just be all like, oh, accepting this is how you are and this is going to work. Because how you are might not work. And that's just the reality of it. Let me tell you what I mean. I don't like working out, as you can probably tell by now in this conversation. I don't like changing my diet. I want to eat what I want to eat. I'm an indulgent eater. And I don't believe in BBL or lipo for me. And I don't want to look like SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, when I say SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm just saying, if you look at this picture, you can kind of see I don't really have no waist over there nowhere. Like, where my waist at? So I don't like doing any of these things. But at the end of the day, something is going to have to give. Not liking all these things just don't go together. I can't not like working out and not like changing my diet and not like surgery and still don't want to look like SpongeBob. That don't work. So we have to figure out, given who you are, given how you are, what is going to work. Okay. So here are some strategies for success based on your budget style. We start thinking about what is going to work for your budget style. If you are an ambitious budgeter, you need to hide some money, okay? You need to be hiding money from yourself because if you see it, you're good to spend it. You don't mind spending it. So you need to be willing to hide money, make sure that you don't see it. If you're an ambitious budgeter, you need to be thinking about what I call the one op strategy. What is the one opportunity that can help you make more money? What is the one opportunity that is going to increase your skill set? Because at the end of the day, ambitious budgeters usually need more money. Is it you're one connection away, one class away, one certification away from the opportunity that's going to help you make the money that you want. A lot of times people get really down and hopeless about making the income that they want, but you're just one opportunity away. Ambitious budgeters might look at doing the 5-day spending detox. All right, when you are an ambitious budgeter, you need to get recentered and refocused around the things that really matter to you, or you will start hustling for every opportunity that comes your way just because you can. So the 5-day spending detox is something that you want to do every month, the first 5 days of every month or the last 5 days of every month, to get recentered and refocused around what matters with your finances so that you can get to that space of consistency. Okay. The fourth thing that you can do is embrace minimalism. As an ambitious budgeter, you want to make it as easy as possible for you to not spend money. And one of the ways that you can do that is embrace minimalism. Less clothes, less furniture, less makeup, less products. You know, having your life work more simply in the ways that you can have it work more simply is going to go far. You're going to have to brainwash yourself into really embracing minimalism. I remember years ago when I didn't have a lot of money, I had started to believe that, oh, a tiny house would be so nice. I would love to have a tiny house. I ain't want no damn tiny house. I was just broke. And so rather than wallowing in my brokenness And rather than trying to live beyond my means, I really reached for something that was a lot more minimal, but still beautiful. Why y'all laughing at me? No, I'm like, these tiny houses are so incredible, but I knew something was up. Every time I watch these tiny house shows, people will walk into the house and the first thing they would say, I kid you not, is, oh, this is so spacious. And I'm like, somebody lying. Somebody is lying. And so you have to brainwash yourself sometimes so that you can really embrace where you are right now instead of trying to reach for things that are just beyond your means at that point in time. All right, some strategies for the fierce budgeter is to relax because, baby girl, your nervous system is going haywire. You stressing yourself out. You're anxious all the time. You need to relax. You need to calm down because none of this stuff is worth dying for. Okay. Number 2, tell Alexa. You probably have a lot of stuff going on in your mind, and you might just want to say, uh, Alexa, can you do this? Alexa, can you remind me to do this? Alexa, can you set a timer for this? Can you set a timer for 30 minutes for me to work on my budget? Can you set a timer for 30 minutes for me to go and cook my food? You really want to leverage the tools that you have at your disposal to help you stay focused. All right. Number 3, if you're a fierce budgeter, you need to go ahead and schedule self-care. Don't keep pretending like, okay, I'm gonna go get a massage this month or I'm gonna go get my nails done. No. And then you just squirrel away all your money and you just hoard it. Fierce budgeters often hoard their money, but you need to be able to take care of yourself. So what that might look like is for the quarter, just go ahead and schedule out your self-care. Go ahead and schedule out those massages. And this is within your budget, right? You might not be able to have three massages for the quarter, but maybe you could have one. Or you might not be able to go get your nails done every month, but maybe you can get it done once or twice. All right, and really just treat yourself. And then number 4, batch tasks. So you might notice that, these are things that can relate to your finances, but your finances is about managing your life. When you manage your life, your finances just fall into play. But when you don't manage your life, it gets very chaotic for your finances. For meticulous budgeters, look for your blind spots. Ask for help, try new things, and create a I didn't know this list. Every single time that you find out that you didn't know something, write it down because you're going to need to remind yourself, especially when you're working with a coach and they're telling you, I want you to invest in this. Your comfort zone is going to kick in and you're not going to want to invest in that. And so when you have a list of things that remind you, oh, wait, there are a lot of times where I thought I knew something, but I didn't. Maybe this is one of those times. Try new things is going to give you courage and help you get out of that traditionalist mindset. And asking for help just reinforces the idea that it's not all on you. You don't have to know everything. You can rely on the help and the expertise of other people. You'll find that the meticulous budget doesn't really have a lot of concrete things, and that's because they're already doing most of the things. But the question is, are those things leading you in the right direction? A lot of times meticulous budgeters are doing the things, but they're not the right things, and they end up missing the mark overall, and then they be real mad because they've been working hard this whole time. And the indulgent budgeter. Oh, I love this one. You want to work on the big deal effect. What does that mean? That means no more shopping day to day. No more just day to day shopping where you go out and buy some stuff, buy some clothes, buy some shoes, buy a bag. None of that. You schedule a day for the quarter and you make it a big deal, right? You schedule brunch with your girls. Y'all go get a mani-pedi. You do your vision board. You plan out the things that you want to buy. You set a budget. You have your style laid out. And you create like this big event around it that really feels so much more exciting, so much more fun, so much more substantial. And you still get to indulge. But instead of just spending, $500 this week, $500 that month, 500, instead of just spending lots of money, you focus that money and focus that energy. And so for the quarter, you might normally spend $3,000, but since you were able to be focused and just do it on one day, you might spend $1,500. So that's the big deal effect. The second thing is treat yourself. Set a goal, and when you reach that goal, have a small reward, okay? We're not talking about a Birkin bag, okay? We're talking about a small treat yourself gift as a reward for doing the things that you said you were gonna do. Make lists. The indulgent budget, make lists of the things that you love, the things that you want to do, the places that you want to travel, the clothes that you want to buy, the shoes that you want to buy. Like, make lists of all the things that you love, and then take pleasure in the idea that you're gonna cross them off. But when you have a list, you don't have, it's almost like it takes away the urgency to do everything right now. It's like, no, I'm gonna get to it. I can relax, I can wait, I'm gonna get to that thing. It's not a problem. I don't have to urgently do it right now. And then also, for indulgent budgeters, look at the one big thing, like the domino effect. What is one big thing that you could do that's going to transform your finances? It might be no more alcohol. It might be, I'm not going to go out to lounges for the month. It might be, I'm not going to walk into a Target store. Like, I'm not going to Target anymore. Okay, just not going into Target could save you $200 a trip. If you go into Target once a week, that's $800 a month. So just avoiding going into Target, avoiding going into TJ Maxx or Ross or whatever. What is that one thing that will have a huge domino effect on your savings, on your investments, on your ability to build wealth? And when you do that one thing, it's easier now because your wealth is growing, but you don't have to focus on 50 million different things. All right. So what before we start giving high fives, what strategy is one that you think you would want to try? Hiding money. Okay. That's definitely one that I've used in my life. I definitely love the 5-day spending detox. Yes, Sophia. Yes, Marcus. I tell Alexa everything. She get my whole life together, because when my life is together, my finances are together. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. Ariana said, just signed up for a certification class today. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's awesome. That's the one that's the one opportunity. Wonderful. All right. So clap it up for you guys. You are already starting to think of things and strategies for how you can begin to budget in a way that's going to work for you and your life. Natalie said I scored in ambitious, so she's an ambitious budgeter, and it resonates with her new approach to minimalism. I love when I hear that. It's like, I'm be on point. I know. But you also gotta get, I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for over 10, this is my 10th year in business. So I have a lot of experience, and some of the people were asking, like, how do you get such accurate results and you only ask a few questions? And it's like, the numbers really speak for themselves, the outcomes speak for themselves. I've been doing this long enough that when you tell me a little bit about you, I can really figure this out. Ariana says, thank you for sharing your insights, so appreciating them. You are more than welcome. So really give yourselves a round of applause for being a part of a conversation that has you open your eyes to what are the actual budget strategies that are going to work for you. But that is not the end of the conversation. You actually need a comprehensive budget. We talked about the budget strategies, but that is not the budget itself, right? There's so many different layers that people don't talk about. Today we talked about the layer of how, where we look at what is the best way to approach budgeting, right? So there's a how when it comes to approaching budgeting. The other layer is, once you start budgeting, how do you implement, right? How do you actually create a budget that works for you? But even after you create a budget, there's another level of how, which is, how do I actually execute what I said that I was going to do? I have this cute little spreadsheet. I have this cute little piece of paper that I created, but how do I follow through with that? So those are the 3 different layers that you always want to be thinking about is how do I approach it? How do I do it? And how do I have it come to fruition in the world? So, this is one of my clients, and she says, "Hey, Tosh, I completed one of your financial programs and have been saving like crazy, now at 5 figures. So, again, over 10K. And I was wondering what services you have once I'm at this point, especially about investing and business ownership." And when you put the budget in place, when you tell your money what to do, the wealth begins to follow. Um, yeah, when you put the budget in place, the money begins to follow that. This is another one of my clients. The bottom one is the one that she sent first, and it says, "My 2020 best decision for hiring me to get together. My 2020 best decision was hiring finances to get me together financially, and everything snowballed from there." And that's exactly when I was doing like this. That's what I meant, like snowballing. And then later, I think it was like maybe a year later, she said, "Amazing woman to work with. We worked together in 2020, and my finances have never looked better." I wanted to share these because I want you to know that the process has longevity. It's not just something that you're going to do for 90 days and then you're not going to see results after that. Every single person has demonstrated ongoing results. And the other thing that you'll notice is language like, sorry, it's a beautiful crane outside my window right now. The other thing that you'll notice is people using language like "my best decision," right? It was my best decision to do this program. And that's really important because you don't want to do something that you're going to regret later. This person says, "Working with you and your team is the best decision I've made in a long time, even if things haven't gone as planned this year." I like this one because a lot of people get so caught up in whether or not their life is perfect at that particular moment. They say, "I don't know if I have enough money. I don't know if I have enough time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit this in. I have so many different things going on." But even when things don't go as planned, even when you have a lot of stuff on your plate, the process is going to work and life is going to continue to life regardless. It don't be letting up like that anyway. So you might as well grab a bull by the horns and start taking control of your life regardless of whether or not life is giving you the space to do so. And this might be, I think I keep saying everyone is my favorite, but they are. This program has opened so many doors for me, and I'd go back in time to hug myself for starting and sticking to it. Instead, I'm gonna send y'all hugs for going through this together. All right. I want to hug myself. And another indication of like I'm happy I made this decision. And then going through this together just highlights the importance of the community, right? So, your budget is the written declaration of your hopes and dreams. It is your greatest asset when it comes to hitting your first 6 figures. So, all of those examples that I just showed you was people taking advantage of their greatest asset and using it to build 6 figure wealth and having more money than they've ever had before. So, why does our process work so well? That's a good question. And I'm so glad you asked because I'm about to take a few minutes and tell you exactly why our process works. A lot of times I read testimonials from people and they don't really move me to action. It's like, okay, I see people are saying good things about your program, but something still feels missing to me. And I was looking at it the other day and I realized that a lot of people have testimonials that talk about something other than the bottom line, right? I'm not sharing testimonials from people who say, "Oh my gosh, you helped me create a budget." It's like, okay, that would be nice, but that's not the heart of what we're trying to get to. Did I put more money in your pocket or not? You're not getting testimonials that just say, "Oh, you were such a joy to work with." No, it's like because of the work that I've done with you and your team, my life is different. right? My life is categorically different and my bank account is categorically different. And the reason that we get testimonials like that, which by the way, every single one that you've seen and everyone on this presentation, I didn't ask for a single one of them. They were not requested. They didn't get any discount or anything. These are just people sharing from where they are because they're that excited and lit up about it. Our very first pillar is psychology. My background is in neuroscience and education, so I understand the mechanisms that are required for somebody to be able to change their behaviors. And quiet as it's kept, like I've said many times, budgeting is not about the numbers. It is about the behaviors. It is about the life that's going on behind the numbers. When we get that together, then we can start to focus on the numbers. Budgeting is about intentionality. You really have to focus on your money. This is all about energy. When your energy is scattered and diffused, your money is going to be scattered and diffused and spread thin. But when you begin to focus on your finances and really channel them into the things that matter to you, you're going to notice that channeling in your bank account. You can see people who are able to say, I was able to add a comma. I have over 5 figures. I have $10,000. Like, this is the actual language that they use. And the reason that they are clear about this is because they're now much more focused and intentional with their finances. Number 3 is systems. Your brain is a system, and you're not going to be able to fight against it just by focusing on your hopes and your dreams and your willpower. Okay, so I'm not going to just give you a plan and hope that you follow through. I'm going to give you a system so that even that no matter how you feel, whether or not you remember to do what we talked about doing, whether or not your willpower is with you in the moment, the system is not going to fail you. All right, it's going to allow your financial future to be inevitable based on what you say you want and what you are willing to do. And then finally, this is perhaps the most important thing. It's the accountability. And for us, we hold accountability as a love language. What does that look like in action? It looks like in our program, when you don't show up, somebody calls you. Okay, when you don't do your work, somebody notices. It's not enough for me to have people invest in the work that I'm doing and then say, well, as long as I give them the education and the information, I've done my job. That's not how I'm wired. The way that I am wired is to make sure that I provide you with the system and that I do my best to make sure that you see a result, and not just any result, a bottom line result. So you absolutely have a role to play, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But you can remind them to drink. You can ask them to drink. You can put the water closer in front of them. But after we do all that, it's on you. All right. So the process works because it is holistic, specific, and measurable. Some people don't like when I use the word holistic because they think it's kind of woo-woo. But at the end of the day, your finances are going to require that you bring your whole self and your whole life to the table. There is no financial transformation without life transformation. This is why when athletes get money and entertainers get money and when people get money, they're still miserable, they're still not happy, and they don't keep their money for long. Something has to happen from the inside out, not just dealing externally with the numbers. This person said, I've been very busy with assignments. This was Lance. Excuse me, I am so sorry. This was Lance who said, I've been very busy with assignments for my master's, but still keeping this group's value in mind through my actions. And basically, he goes on to say that he just got his letter of record that he paid his student loans in full, $41,000. I wanted to share this because this person was in their master's program, but they didn't let that stop them. They didn't use that as an excuse, and they were still able to see the results from that to the tune of $41,000. And the way that we're able to have people do this, regardless of what's going on in their life, is because of those 4 pillars that we just talked about. This client, I'm not going to go through all of this, but she just said, oh my gosh, I used your program last year to get on top of my finances. which were completely stretched. And I was helping people from an empty cup. Jill, my advisor, and I hope she's Jill was my advisor and I hope she's well. A year later, I stuck with everything y'all taught me, and I'm further ahead in my financial life than I've ever been before. I have more than enough savings. I've never had any savings. My bills are on auto pay, and I'm always a month ahead. I really love this because financial freedom looks different for everybody. This person didn't say that she had $10,000. Who knows what she has? She didn't say. But the thing that mattered to her was that she has more than enough savings, that her bills are on auto pay, that she's always a month ahead, and things are only getting better for her. She says, "I'm so happy I could cry, and I've been crying. I'm so glad I found you on Twitter. Okay, your program helped me change my life. I didn't ask anybody to send this." And that's what I think is so beautiful. And you will notice that in these messages, people mention their coach. This is not a one woman show. I have a whole team who is in place to support you. And you can see their impact, that people come back months later to say, "This person helped me change my life. This program that you created changed my life." And Marcus says it's like having a financial therapist. I usually avoid saying that, but it is. And a lot of people don't know this, but we actually have a life coach on staff. One of our coaches is specifically there to help you with your life because that's how important it is to get your life together. If you keep bumping up against a wall, if you keep bumping up against something in your finances and it won't change, that means that we have to have something change in your life. And that's when we bring in the life coach. So others might try educating you, and we will educate you. Like I said, my background is in education, but I'm not going to educate you to death. That's not my goal, is that you know how to do this stuff. My goal is that you are implementing the things that you need to implement in order to receive the results that you want to see. All right. Others try creating a plan, but a plan isn't good enough because that doesn't ensure that you actually follow through. Some people try DIYing it, and I'm just like, this is not a dresser, friend. Okay. I don't know if your finances are the thing that you want to DIY. Like, I'm giving you guys this financial automation blueprint at the end, but when it comes to finances, there's such a level of not even complexity, but messiness that you have to get through in order to get to the other side. And finally, some people think that finances are a one size fits all approach. And even though we have a system, it is very, very personalized to the needs of each of our clients. And what they miss, right? What other financial coaches miss, what other companies miss, is that getting to the big picture requires looking at the micro details. In order to get to the space of clarity, first, you have to be willing to get a little messy. And I don't mind getting messy. This is a picture of me on top of a mountain that had a really, really incredible view. And while I was going up to the top, other people were coming down. They didn't even make it to the top. They were like, "I'm not about to do this." But I was going to the top, climbing on my hands and knees because I'm okay with getting messy. And there's going to be so much mess. And I want you to know what that is before you even think about agreeing to this process. Your emotions are going to get in the way because you are a human being. There's no way that we can act like this process is going to be so seamless. Your emotions are very likely to come through. There are going to be things that you don't want to do. There are going to be things that you don't like. As you own and embrace who you are and make the decisions about what you want to transform, you're going to have to confront yourself in a very new way. Number two, even though you desire change, your comfort zone is going to come and say, "Nah, baby girl, come back over here. Sir. Get over here, sir." You're going to be led to go back to the thing that feels comfortable to you. And your coach is going to be like, we're not doing that. And it might not feel good. Number three, we're going to have to deal with your excuses. I can't do this because I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm not. And it's just part of your humanity. And it's something that we're going to have to deal with. And it's something that messes up. It makes the process more messy. And then especially the numbers. Some people are intimidated by numbers. Some people get overwhelmed looking at the numbers. And that's just something that we're going to have to deal with and work through because there is no way around it. You know, if you're an ambitious budgeter or an indulgent budgeter, you might not want to look down, get all into the nitty gritty details. But for 30 days, you're going to have to do that. Only for the first 30 days, but you're going to have to get closer and more detailed in your finances than you may have ever been before. And that is why I don't miss. I have a process. I'm not afraid of getting messy, and I understand what messy means. All right. And not to mention, I'm like super, super trained. My background is in psychology and education with the emphasis on neuroscience. And I created my first financial system when I was 10 years old. And by the time I was 13, I was the richest person in my house. By the time I went to college, I had already started investing, and I was able to work for a Fortune 50 company managing $100 million budgets for them. And then purchased my first investment property and then quit my job and started my business. The experience is ample. So here are some spaces that you might be in right now as I introduce you to the six-figure bootcamp. For some of you, this might be the end of the conversation. And for some of you, you might want to learn real quick what the six-figure bootcamp entails. But where do you feel like you are right now? And wherever you are is perfect. You might be a little bit curious, and you can drop it in the chat. You might be interested and you might be eager to just learn what the six-figure bootcamp is about. Where would you say you are right now? All right, I see some interesteds. I see some eagers. Okay, I see you guys. Eager. I love that. Eager, interested, curious. Wherever you are is completely perfect. And at the end, Ariana, I think I see your hand up. At the end, we're going to have space for questions. So, because you stayed till this point, I'm not gonna hold you to the whole end, okay? I'm gonna let you go if you're ready to go. If you're not really trying to look at the six-figure bootcamp experience, that's perfectly okay. And as promised, I want to offer you our financial automation blueprint, and you can find it at www.goddessstay.com. That's GODESTE.com/fab. Okay. Interested, still coming in. I see you guys. All right, so make sure you write that down. Make sure you go to that. That's where the financial automation blueprint lives. And as soon as you go to that link, it's going to download automatically to your device. Okay. And if this is where we part ways, if this is the end of the conversation for you, I really just want to thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for sharing your energy with us. And I'll see you next time. But for those of you who want to stay and learn more about the six-figure bootcamp experience and learn more about how to master money management to hit six-figure wealth, let's talk about that for a little bit. And I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So our six-figure bootcamp experience is designed with one purpose in mind, and that is to help you increase your net worth. Everything that we do in the six-figure bootcamp is designed to help you increase your net worth. So you will find that people did not come and say, oh, I started budgeting, I started investing, no, they said something very specific. They told me about the money. How much have you been able to increase your net worth? Because that is what ultimately we want to know. And the whole point of understanding your budget style is so that you can fall in love with the process. People were using words like joy, like I love budgeting, like this was the best decision I've made. I want you to fall in love with this 3-month boot camp, right? Fall in love with the material, with the community, with the instructors. You know, we really have a strong community and a strong foundation. And this is a place where you can come where you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I want to be investing in some stuff. And you can find people who are interested in the things that you are interested in, but who might have a different skill set than you. And then all of a sudden you have an investment partner. or you can invest in the opportunities that we make available to you. So here are the things that we offer. Number one, we have live group sessions twice a month for 2 hours. So twice a month for 2 hours, you're going to sit down with an instructor who is walking you through the material. But we're not just going to educate you during the workshop. We're actually going to have a session where you're going to execute and implement the thing that you learned. So the first half is education and the second half is execution. I'm not going to leave you to your own devices and hope that you do the work. If you show up, we are going to ensure that you do the work, and we're going to ensure that you do it correctly. Now, I can't for the life of me figure out why more programs are not set up this way. Why would I just teach you something and hope that you go do it? That's not how we operate. We're going to make sure that you do it. Number two, we also have a full course library. So I mentioned that we're focused on increasing your net worth, but there's a lot of other topics that you might want to learn about as well. And we have those available for you in our full course library, from real estate, investing, margin trading, all types of things, how to buy your first home. All of those things you'll find in our full course library. Number three, not only do we have group coaching, we also offer one-on-one coaching. Most programs have one or the other, and we offer both. So you'll have a one-on-one coach to support you, and it's going to be one of the most trained coaches in the industry, not the financial industry, the industry, period. Okay. And then finally, you have the option to have an accountability partner. All right. So your live group sessions are going to happen twice a month. You're in the months that we don't have a live group session, you're going to be meeting one-on-one with your coach. And if you want some more daily accountability, that's what your accountability partner is there for. Okay. And if you do choose to register, you get lifetime access to the group sessions. So you'll have access to all of your recorded sessions and the full course library. Even as we update it with new material, you'll always have access to that forever and ever, as long as the program exists. So here is our roadmap. You don't have to stress or worry about money. Okay. You can create fun, affluence, leisure, and wealth with our 3-step process that also acknowledges your budget style. So the first part is organization, and then systemization, and then automation. And every 30 days, we have a new challenge. So I understand that your attention span is short. We need to do something to keep you engaged and interested. So every 30 days, you have a new challenge and a new goal that you're working towards in a very focused and concerted manner, so that at the end of the 90 days, you have the financial system that we promised you, and it is on autopilot and it's working towards your 6-figure goal. And a lot of people ask me, why 6 figures? Like, why don't I talk about becoming a millionaire? And most people don't have $1,000 in the bank. Most people definitely don't have $10,000 in the bank. So why would I come talking about 7 figures when we haven't even hit 6-figure wealth yet? I want to talk about something that is possible, something that is attainable, something that I can actually help you do in a reasonable amount of time. And that's why I focus on 6 figures instead of 7 figures. So this is what it looks like when you get inside of the 6-figure experience. You can see the different module 1, module 2, module 3. All of that is already in there for you. And we accommodate most learning styles. So if you're an overachiever, you're like, oh yes, I want to get to this material, we got you. If you're more like easy breezy, you're more laid back, you're not trying to do too much, that's okay, we got you too. If you are a team player or a lone wolf, it doesn't matter, we got you. We have you'll be able to construct your program in a way that's going to be workable and produce results. Now notice I don't say comfortable, but we will figure out what's going to work. We understand that not everything works for everybody. So as we get towards the end, this is for you if you're tired. You know, how long have you been working in your life, and how much do you have to show for it? At the end of the day, I really feel like that's the only question that we need to ask ourselves. If you don't have money to show for the fact that you've been working for a decade or more, then this is absolutely something that you want to do, because we're going to start to make sure that your money begins to stick to your bank account. This is for you if you want more. You want more income, more assets, more experience, more well-being. You want to be, you don't want to be cash rich and asset poor anymore. And this is for you if, this is so important, you're ready. Okay? You have to be ready to be coachable. And this is also for you if you're not trying to do all of this on your own. You don't want to be doing this by yourself, and you want to be a part of a community that can help to motivate you and propel you forward. This is for you if you want the blueprint. You don't want to have to go to YouTube. You don't want to have to go to Google trying to figure out how to construct all of this for yourself. You want somebody to just put the template, put the blueprint in front of you, tell you what to do, and you can run and play, and then you're good to go. And it's simple. It really is that simple. This is for you if you want support. You want that one-on-one support. You want that accountability. You want somebody to make sure that the work is getting done. Because there's been a lot of times where you told yourself you were going to do it and you really didn't do it. And you don't want this to be one of those situations. Now, I really do have to say this. This is not for you if you're not going to be willing to push beyond your comfort zone. It's okay to do a little kicking and screaming, but you got to be willing to be flexible. Okay? It's not for you if you're not interested in being coachable. All right. We really have very good relationships with our clients. And even though you don't have to do everything that your coach tells you to do, you want to be open to hearing what they have to say. And this is also not for you if you don't care about six figures. Not everybody cares about building wealth. But for the people in this program, having money is a way for us to make a difference. Having money is a way for us to change our lives, and we actually care about that unapologetically. So here's what you can expect. If you decide to click that link, it's going to take you to our registration page, where you can see right now we have, yes, on Tuesday we had 16 seats remaining. I don't know how many we have now, less than that. But you can see that the investment is $3,000 and the fast action bonus is $100 for a total. The total is $3,000. Depending on when you register, it might be a little different, but this is what you're going to see when you get to that page. We do have different payment options available for you. Number one, you can pay in full, which would be $3,000, or you can make 4 easy payments of $800, or you can make paycheck friendly payments of $450. That just means every 2 weeks, every pay cycle, you'll be able to make a payment so that it doesn't hurt your pockets too much. Because for a lot of people, even though the money is there, or even though they make enough money, not enough of it is in their bank account. And that's okay, because that's about to change. So whichever option works for you, feel free to go with that option. But I was trying to think about what is an ethical thing that I can offer to the people who pay in full. And I didn't want to offer them something within the program, because in my mind, if something is going to help you do better in the program, I should offer it to everybody. Like, my program should be optimized so that it works for everybody. But what I did think about was, what about the future when you're out of this program? So once you've completed the program, if you pay in full, you'll get a free 1-year maintenance plan. Okay. So for what that means is every 4 months, you'll be able to schedule some time with a coach to review your finances, take a look at where you are, overlook your investments and things like that. Now, you got to remember, we are financial coaches and not financial advisors. We don't take any assets under management, and we don't tell you what to do with your money. At the end of the day, all decisions are at your sole discretion, but we can help educate you with the information that you need to be able to make a more informed decision. And, when you're looking at this, a lot of times when people start looking at payment information, they start to get nervous. When you start thinking about signing up, you might start to feel nervous. So I want you to know that you are not signing your life away. I understand that this is a really big decision. I remember when I invested in my first business program, I invested $10,000 with a coach, and I literally cried on the phone with her because I had never spent that much money on a program. Today it's like, okay, if I know it's going to help me, I'll do it. So I do know that it can be a nerve-wracking process, but you are not signing in blood today. And here's our promise. We understand that in today's digital landscape, it can be hard to know who to trust. And you are when you're making a purchase, you don't know if it's going to be what you expect it to be. So what we are promising is that we're going to create a budget system that realistically and consistently increases your net worth. If we do not do that, if within the first 14 days you are not happy with the work that we've been doing for you, you can request a full refund and it will be honored within 48 hours. And all you have to do is show your work. Show that you did something, show that you made some effort. If the math is not mathing, if you're not going to be able to build the type of wealth that you expected, then it's okay if the program is not for you and you'll be able to get your refund within 48 hours. So and this is not to give you a way out. This is to give you a way in so that you don't have to stress and worry about is somebody trying to scam you. You see pictures of the people with their Lamborghini and they got all their money and they look all fancy, but you never know what's under the hood. So you can get in, you can figure out if it's what I said it was going to be. And if it's not, you can move accordingly. And if you're still not ready, if you're not quite sure, if you need some more support, you can book a free discovery call to learn how we can help you, to learn how we can support you with your specific situation. Okay. Now, you probably won't be able to get the fast action bonus, and that's okay because, as I've already demonstrated, this program is going to pay for itself time and time and time again. So I wouldn't even worry about that if I were you. And finally, I wanted to leave on some kind words. The founder of Goddess Day, I've personally used her program before and can attest to the growth and improvement I've had in my financial life. You can learn so much about how to better yourself and be more on top of your finances. I love this one because he says, better yourself, not just your finances, but you get to learn how to better yourself. And this person, okay, for those of you who are still not ready, maybe you can gain some inspiration. They said, Latasha, I am ready to take the dive with you to be my financial coach. I have stable income for the past 2 years, and I know you are who I need to get to the next level. So remember when I said, none of that maybe energy. This is what I mean. He said, you are who I need to get to the next level. There are other financial programs out there, but you want to feel that this resonates with you, that you know that this is the thing that's going to get you to the next level. And if you feel that way, then that's when I want to work with you. All right. So here's what we know based on the testimonials. It works no matter what your budget style is. It can work whether you made a little money or a lot of money. It goes beyond numbers on a page. It's not just about action or education or results. It's any old result. It's about results that relate to the bottom line. We know that people feel like this is the best decision they've ever made. And we know that people are grateful that they said yes. And when you look out into your future, just really think about, where do you want to be in the next 3 months with your finances? Where do you want to be in the next 6 months or in the next year? You want to be in a place that's unrecognizable to you. You want to be sending me messages that say, I never thought that this was going to be possible so quickly. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So do you guys have any questions for me before we go? I got time for just a few. Here are some questions. I'm not even going to try to answer all of these now, but here are some questions that people often ask. How do I balance budgeting and enjoying life? This is something that you are going to work specifically with your coach on, leveraging your budget style. What exactly should I be doing with my finances on a daily basis? how should I invest my money? Where should I put my money? And the question is not even where should I put it? It really should be how should I put my money? Because the where is usually not the issue, it's the how. What if I want to buy a home? This is something that we'll address. And this question I will answer, will this be easy? The answer is no. No matter how customized it is, no matter how personal it is, no matter how much support you have, you didn't become who you are overnight. And it's going to take something. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some effort. And it's going to take some strategy to really get you to where you want to be. You have to know there are a lot of forces at play that want your money. There are forces at play that want to take the money out of your pocket and out of your bank account and put it into somebody else's cash register. We have whole marketing and advertising campaigns around it. Our entire society is built around it. We understand that the 1% have more money than the bottom 50%. So, no, it's not going to be easy, but it is absolutely possible. Okay. So if you are watching the replay of this, you will see the link below that tells you exactly when our next cohort begins. I don't want to say it here because I know that people are going to be watching this at different times and I don't want to confuse you. But if you look below, there's going to be a link for you to register, a link for you to book a call, and the date will be there also. So if you register right away, you'll get our fast action bonus, and you got to do it before this video disappears. You know, this video is not going to be available forever. It should be available for about 7 days only. And then you can book a call if you want to have a conversation with somebody. Don't wait to do it. Just do it now while you're here. And I look forward to seeing you in our next program. For those of you who are here, I just want to say, I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your engagement. Thank you for setting the way for everybody who's going to be watching this conversation after you. Your presence is so greatly appreciated, okay? Until next time, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.